We're back. So last time we talked all about buying homes.
Yep.
Now we're going to talk about selling homes.
Yep.
I mean, you just put a sign up in your yard, right? And that's putting it up for sale.
Oh, I wish it was that easy.
Welcome to Community Real Estate Roots, Agents Building Relationships, where we explore the heart of real estate through meaningful connections. Join Alicia, Deidre, and Lisa as they guide you through stories behind every sold sign and dive into how agents nurture communities, one home and one relationship at a time.
So there is a process of getting your house listed. What's y'all's process?
Step 1, find me. I need that. Need one of those arrows.
Call your favorite realtor.
Yeah, my husband joked, you need to put something in the yard. Like, when people are trying to find something on the map and you have got that little circle thing, put that in our yard. Right here is your realtor. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that.
It's the creepy people that you don't.
Yeah, you don't want them there.
Yeah. No. So, first step is finding an agent.
So
Here we are again.
Here we are, your favorite agents.
That's right. Yep.
Well, hopefully you bought that one from one of us. And now we're going to come back and sell it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can sell it.
Yep. Yep. It's a good thing to have an agent because we can help you with finding the price of what you need to list it for and all that kind of stuff. Sorry. Like all that kind of stuff. I sound so professional.
So you get them all kinds of different ways. You get the ones that either waited
Too long.
too
Far
late
past.
to
Yes.
they now they're saying, okay, my job told me that I had to be there in 4 weeks. Like, well, do they have a place for you to go? Or are you guys going to go and we're going to sell it empty? And then you have the ones that go, oh, I'm not going to do it for 6 months, but they still don't want to talk about anything. Actually, the one you get that wants to do it in 6 months really sometimes is a better setup and a process because people don't realize the time it takes to put your house on the market. These days, we're running about 30 to 45 days on market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're into almost 3 months, right? Then you get a contract, you get the offer. You're another 4 to 6 weeks out on that. So now you've almost eat up the whole 6 months.
Yeah.
If it's priced right.
If it's priced right.
And then you get the people who are, well, I might be having to go under foreclosure soon. I'm like, well, you're too late. I had a lady who had me come to her house, gave her the whole spiel, went over, priced it, did all the things. Oh, but I'm under chapter 13. Is that gonna make a difference? Like,
Always
could,
Well, and actually it doesn't.
yeah. I mean, just like, why would you wait so late?
It doesn't when you sell it. It hurts it on buying. On the selling part, all they need is permission from the bankruptcy court that they're going to sell the house.
Mm-hmm.
And what it means, they're probably getting equity out of it. So
Probably.
but it's better to get out of it.
Yeah, then have that.
They're still going to take it.
Yeah.
But
you might get a little something out of it.
You might get a
Sell it.
little. You might get a little something out of it. So it's never too early to talk to an agent about selling your house.
Yeah, because there's things that we got to know. Do you want to do open houses? Do you want to be in the house? Do you already have a place, like you said? There's a lot of things to kind of go over. So, step 2 is pricing.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a big deal. What
But
are you gonna price?
Zillow said my house is worth $400,000.
Yeah, but it's 150.
Whatever
Zillow didn't
is
know.
that?
Zillow didn't know that you still have the original roof and you have it,
You
all
haven't
these things.
updated it since 1979.
Exactly.
Well, the other thing you don't see in Zillow either is all you see in Zillow is what your mortgage, your loan payment is. You don't see what's in escrow. You don't see your home insurance. You don't see your taxes. You add all that together, and that's your mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, somebody's mortgage payment goes from 400 to, you know, well, there's no such thing as $400 mortgage payment, but up higher than what you want. So yeah, it's pricing is not what it used to be either.
No, because you have to literally pull comps in
Yes.
the area. What are houses actually selling for? Just because you think it's worth $400,000 doesn't mean it's actually worth $400,000.
Just because you're wanting to walk away with $400,000 because you want to pay off your house, pay off your credit cards, pay off your car,
And your next house.
and have money for your next house doesn't mean that you can. That can't all rely on the sale of your house. You might not be able to get all that.
Right. And, you know, the other part to that too is, you know, there's a house 2 doors down that might have sold for $400,000,
Oh,
but
yes.
it's 700 square feet larger than your house. It's 2 levels. That needs to be, your comps are apples to apples, not apples to oranges.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I literally had one of those that, oh, well, the neighbor's house literally sold for $369,000. Mine's listed at $349,000. I want to raise it up to $369,000 because they got $369,000. They did, but there's it like you said, it's apples and oranges. This house is one level. This house that sold for $369,000 is 2, and it's got 4 bedrooms upstairs. Yours is 3 in general. There's so many apples to oranges and apples to apples that you have to take into consideration, and some people don't understand that.
Well, and the other piece of that consideration too is, especially if it's the older homes, you know, those 1978, 80s to 2000 or whatever. Even if you've updated them and brought them to where you think the value should be, there could be pieces to that puzzle that you can't do anything about. Like when you bought it, it sits way up on a hill that you're pretty sure your transmission's not going to last going up and down, but you love the inside of the house, so you bought it. Well, guess what? Now you've limited yourself on who can purchase it because you're going to have to find another person that does not bother. You know, and every time you got to back your car down to go to the mailbox, it's not good. Or the opposite. It could be straight down too, right?
Yeah.
So there's things when you purchase that you got to keep in mind. I was working with a buyer yesterday, and we were talking about this because they're only going to be in the house 4 or 5 years. It's a new construction. D.R. Horton absolutely loved it. Loved the plan. It was a great corner lot, probably one of the best D.R. Horton lots I've seen. But the kitchen is not the kitchen she wanted. She don't want a microwave above the stove. She doesn't want the oven below the stove. So she was going to have the cabinet people in, and where the little kitchen area is on most D.R. Hortons, she was going to build cabinets up that wall and put her oven and her microwave on that wall and convert her microwave area to
Which
a beautiful piece over on top. Which
is a great idea.
It is a great idea, but what's going to happen?
You're going to overvalue the house.
We're going to overvalue the house. And I had to have a conversation with her at the end of the day. I said, I know you love this house, and I think it matches all the things. I guess she has a big family that comes over and visits. And I even laughed at her because she said, and I have some that come and visit and they don't go home for a while. And she goes, I like for them to be somewhere else in the house for that. And I, after we got done with the day, I said, I know you love that other one. And yes, you can do all those things, but you're putting a price tag on the house that's never going to sell in that neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and no appraiser's going to give it to
Mm-mm.
you. So, so yeah, when you're selling, you have to,
Take into consideration
yes,
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
you know, how old is your HVAC? How, you know, what are, and you've got to price it to compensate for that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's all the preparing for the sale, which is step 3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you know something has got to be repaired, is it going to be more cost effective to fix it, or, like you said, price it accordingly?
Yeah. I
'Cause-
mean, if you, I laugh when you go into an older house and it has that avocado green. Um,
Mhm.
um,
Tile
appliances,
and
no
oh,
appliances
yeah.
in the kitchen,
I've seen
which
the
I haven't seen any of
bathrooms.
those in like, but the bathrooms,
The
yeah, for
bathrooms.
sure. But you know that actually that cover and tiles is coming back, which is so
Yeah.
funny.
Ugh.
I know, I
Yeah.
know,
I'm just not a fan.
I know. No. But even if it's clean and it's that stuff's not broken,
Mhm.
like you happen to be a great house cleaner and you kept all the appliances up to date, again, you're cutting yourself short on who's going to buy it. A new
Mhm.
couple that's have a baby on the way and loves all the modern bells and whistles is not probably buying this house.
Right.
Mm-mm. Yep. And so, the next is going to be list and market home. Step number 4.
What's step number 4?
List and market home.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
we've got the price, we've got what all that's going to
I'm
look
going to go
at.
back one step. I want to ask something.
Mhm.
When you get a client and you get ready to list their home, do y'all do photos? Do you do professional photos, or do you just go in there and iPhone it out?
No, I do
Oh no,
professional
it's
photos.
professional.
Right? I just
Yeah.
when I'm flipping through the MLS and I see somebody hiding in the mirror in the background, that just drives me up the wall. I'm like,
Mhm.
your agent could have at least gotten you professional photos.
Yeah.
But that's
That
my
tells
pet
me
peeve.
that tells me that they don't have a lot of faith that your house is going to sell at what you're doing, so they don't want to invest that money. But you should do it.
Well,
You need to have
and I
professional
think it
photos.
comes back to the conversation of what your brokerage offers.
Mhm.
Every brokerage offers different types of marketing
Right.
packages and tools that we can do. And I think we're lucky enough that we work for a brokerage that has all that great stuff for us. But the marketing conversation to let them know what we're going to do
Mhm.
is important. And I always, unless it's, you know, unless it's a really under $100,000 and it's more distress than it is anything.
Mhm.
Now, those I'll just usually take a picture of the front
Right.
and maybe out back, whatever.
Mhm.
Investor special.
Yeah. But other than that, I always order the nice post for the front yard.
Yeah.
I have a photographer I use. He does a great job depending on the property. I may do a drone
Mm-hmm.
shop. I did one out in the country, and it was just like a one way in subdivision, couple of cul-de-sacs. And I didn't do it at first. I went back and did it after we got it on the market because there were larger lots, but a very wooded area, so you really couldn't see the beauty
Mhm.
from just the
Right,
pictures in
yeah.
the front yard. So I had him go out to the street and start the drone up over coming into the neighborhood and then back. And then my showings started popping
Mhm.
when they were able to see that. So
Nice.
there may be some stuff that you don't do exactly in the beginning from a marketing
Yeah.
piece. If you have a lot of acreage, you should do a drone every
drone,
single
drone,
time.
yeah.
But yeah, pictures are,
Important.
well, sellers don't realize, they just hear the word picture, but they don't realize that that's the first look
It's the first impression.
of a buyer coming to your house.
Yeah.
Well, and that's 4, and that goes back to 3. Sometimes we got to tell people, hey, in preparing for the listing and the market of your home, you've got to do some stuff to your house.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
can't be cluttered. You can't have 3 whole family members, all their stuff piled up into your house. You can't have grandma, grandpa, your children's that have moved out and your stuff all hoarding in your house.
Right.
You've got to minimize some of the stuff. At
Well-
least move it for the pictures or something.
Well,
Because
and I always I just did one, and I just said, most of this stuff, do you use it every day? No. I said, so pack that stuff up.
Because we would rather see boxes in the corner, knowing that you're getting ready to move out. It's already been packed up versus clutter in the corner.
Well, and that's what you use your garages for at that point too, is you just start. I always tell them to start, make a square, write on the box of what it is, so it's easier for you to move them. And I'll put in the notes, packing has begun. It's all in the garage. I just make them leave a path so they can walk
'cause
around.
when you see all that stuff in that house, I think nasty. I think are there bugs, all these kind of things. And I mean, I do. You
would.
really do. I think, ooh, what's going to be crawling on you when you're trying to take this picture? And then another thing, people want to see and be able to envision
their
stuff in there without the bugs crawling on. Seriously.
So that's why I
you
do.
have to
Do you guys
prepare.
do a pre-photographer walk? Like, do you give them walk through and make a list out of everything that needs to be done?
No.
And then,
And then I try to
I
go
give them
back.
2 days before
Yeah, I try to
go
go back and make sure that it's actually done
Right.
before I finalize pictures. Because
Yeah.
I don't want the photographer to come out and nothing be done.
Well, and I've done enough pictures with this one photographer. She knows that I'm going to check it again beforehand, and she always sends me an email and said, "So are we good to go?" Because she knows I'm gonna check it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just look at the seller sometimes, and I said, "Go outside, close the door. I want you to open the door and come back in, and I want you to you're going to buy this house. And at the end of this walk, I want you to tell me, yes, I would buy it, or no, I wouldn't buy it, for the price that you want to put on it."
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's been pretty effective on, would you want to buy your house?
Yeah.
And the best thing you can do, the best thing I get back from a seller is when the pictures come in and they go, "Oh my God, I want to buy my house again."
Yeah. Well, and then the photographers also make it look so good in their lighting.
Yes.
It's like they're seeing it in a whole different light, literally,
Mm-hmm.
than because they're living there already.
It is okay to have this kids' room. Like, I had this really
Yeah.
cute little kids' room, and this little girl was no more than 3 years old, maybe 4. She had more stuffed animals than you could ever sell at a toy store. In this house. But before I got there to walk through, they had done this really cute thing. So they started in the floor here, and they kind of had them like at a triangle, the bigger ones, and then stopped up. And then they had a net that came down over the top of those, and they were all inside of that net. And I'm like, we need to run a contest and say, how many stuffed animals do I have
Right.
in my room?
You can win the house.
Can you?
That'd be a cute open house thing. If you can guess how many.
Right. It would
You
be.
win the $25
But
Applebee's
you
card.
can have all those things. It just needs to. You can't make the room look like it's a 2x4 room.
Yeah, and when it's so cluttered, it makes it look smaller.
Yeah. We looked at a house yesterday, gorgeous house. One that's kind of open. The living room's there, and then you have the kitchen, but then the dining room, it's like only 2 years old. And there was plenty of room in the living room in the front, and the bar had stools and stuff. But the furniture they had chosen in that room was literally between where the back of the bar stools was to the back of the first couch. You barely
Had a walkway.
The
you
furniture
barely
was too
had a
big.
walkway. And the one that was on the other side, so it was 2 love seats facing each other, exact same size. They had pulled it from the wall, like that chair's there, and just opened the wall behind you. So that was your path to get out. Whereas we were talking about, because she said, I have similar furniture. I said, if this would have been mine, this couch would have gone all the way up against this wall. They didn't need that walking path behind. And I'd either done an L and kept all that open to the bar, or I would have got something smaller. I know I did it. I hit the mic crying. I know.
We should take bets.
I know. No, I would lose every time. That would
But
not
we
be
would
it.
win.
We would win.
But this gorgeous house, it made some doubt come in because it's super small. Well, the house wasn't small. It was how much, and it was decorated beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But it looked like it was really tiny, just because of it. So
what kind of marketing do y'all do? So, I mean, I know that we get a free week, an ad ran on all of our listings.
with AdWorks,
It's 150 or more.
Yeah, and then I always push all of mine out to social media. And I encourage all my friends and family to share it, my clients to share it, and then open houses.
I do open houses.
Yeah.
There's a lot of agents who won't. That goes back to picking your agent. You know, a lot of them won't do open houses. They think that that's a waste, but it's not.
No.
I had one that was for sale in my neighborhood, did an open house. The person who came in wanted to make an offer. They didn't have an agent, wanted me to represent them, wanted me to sell their house. I sold their house.
You got like 4 out of that one, wasn't it?
I got 4 out of that one.
Yeah.
And the one that bought the house, they have another property that they're going to get me to sell. So that's going to be 5 from just that one open house.
Nice.
So it can happen.
It doesn't take.
there's
It doesn't take 20 people to come to an open house. You only
To
need
make it
one
successful.
person.
Yeah, you only need that one person.
Right.
Is there anything else y'all do?
Um,
Different that what I do?
Depending on the neighborhood, if it looks like it fits in, I'll do the text writers.
Yeah.
So they can literally text a number sitting in front of the house. You as the agent gets a text right then and there, and you know somebody's interested in that house for your seller. So that's a good one, especially if it's a neighborhood that younger families, you know, that you get young families in, you know, because they're smaller houses.
Right.
Those are good because everybody loves to
I've done
text.
a lot of raffles. Like I'll have raffles in my open house. Say, hey, and post it on social media, post it on the neighborhood thing. Hey, if you come by, enter for the raffle. They may not be looking, but
They may know
it
somebody
might,
that is.
they might decide they want to start looking after they come in there, you know, because people are happy until they see what's on the other side sometimes.
Yeah. No,
So I'll do
for
that
sure.
sometimes. And
You are the queen of
I've
raffles.
had
She is.
taco night at an open house before.
Nice.
Done all kind of stuff.
Yeah. Marketing is just not, there's a lot of things you can do.
It's not just a flyer on the
It's
bar.
just not.
Yeah.
Knocking on
There's
the
so
door.
much more than what you can do.
It's not.
And it
it's-
varies per person.
And again, it's about
the
sharing it, because once you share it on social media, the thing about listed houses, even your friends that have they just bought a house or they're not anything in, they'll look at it and they love it. They'll share it and go, oh, you need to look at this house.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You just want that exposure
I
to
had
go out.
door knocked before open houses, printed out flyers, gone to the neighborhoods, and said, "Hey, I'm doing an open house. Just want to let you know there's going to be a lot of traffic coming through. Just want to give you a heads up in case you have stuff out in your yard you want to put up, because there's going to be people coming through. If you want to come by, come on by."
That was her nice way of saying the front of your yard does not look very
Yeah.
good, and I'm
Get your
fixing
crap
to-
up.
fixing to
Come
have
on.
an
To
open
clean
house.
it up because my
Get it
client trying to
together.
sell their house.
But that makes a difference
It
when you
does.
go back to pricing
Yeah,
and
give them their card
and what
and their
all
flyer.
that is.
Take into consideration.
You got to
yeah.
take it in consideration,
If your
because
neighbor's house looks like crap, it's going to affect yours.
it's gonna.
Unfortunately, it's not fair, but
Yeah.
And not only that, if that person across the street is even contemplating putting their house on the market, they may have somebody else that they're thinking about. But if they see, hey, I'm coming to your house, this is the work that I'm doing to get this house sold. Then they see the open house. They see the balloons. They see all the writers. They see the arrows. You're almost there. Keep going. I've done that before. Keep going. You're almost at the house, So make it fun.
Yeah.
And they see that. Then they're going to say, hey, well, she's really working it. So.
Well, and the cool thing about that too is when you do it in a neighborhood and you see all that around, it's the day that you put under contract. That's what gets
That was fast.
that was fast.
Yes.
All that stuff she did
Mhm.
is working. You know, but your first few things that you've already done, those are so critical, or the other ones won't fall into place, right?
Exactly. Step number 5 is showings and feedback.
Please, please, please.
Don't decline a showing. That's what I'm saying.
Oh man.
Well, no,
Yeah.
don't make sure that's been the conversation actually at the very beginning that says, okay,
This is the process.
because
This
you
is
would be
what needs to
surprised how many
happen.
that'll go, well, you know, little Henry takes a nap at 11 and at 2.
Well, if little Henry wants to sell his house,
And
little Henry better
then-
wake up.
And then Susie's home from school by 3:30, and then we eat dinner at 5. So I said, okay, so when are we showing your house?
Mhm.
Well, that's what I tell him. Look, it's probably going to be a rough week or two. But once we get past that, once we get under contract, everything else falls into place.
Well, and that's why I like to go active on a late Thursday or a Friday. And
Because
I
it's
try to tell them, do you have
weekend.
family nearby? Do you have whatever?
Go visit family.
Pack up the kids and go and give me the whole weekend just to pop it out there and get as much as we can
Exposure
get.
to it, yes.
And then let's decide what it's going to look like next week.
And then when you get the feedback and people are saying things, don't get your feelings hurt. Your house isn't for everybody. But if there's something that's consistent that's being said, you need to think about it.
Might need to address it.
You know, you might think that, you know, your house is worth all this money, and you may think that this paint color is a good choice, but it might not be, you know, or, you know, something with the backyard that things have happened in life and you just kind of accept things. You know, people are saying that this is an eyesore, or the neighbor next door. I had this. Oh, it was awful. The neighbor next door had a car that was tore up and they didn't keep up with it. The house didn't sell. We couldn't do anything about it. People were upset. And I was just like, oof, it was a hard time. But you got to understand, when you're putting your house up for sale, it's not only your house. These other things do come into play.
Well,
And you might have to adjust your price according to your circumstances.
well, and this goes back to kind of off the subject, but not the subject is, you know, people go, is there HOA? I don't want an HOA. Well, you do want an HOA
Yeah.
because if you're in a community with an HOA, that car would not be there.
Mm-hmm.
It would have already been picked up and
And the grass
gone.
isn't going to be up to your hips.
Right.
in
Right.
the neighbors' yards. And
Right. It may be in the back behind the fence and you can't see it, but
But that's not your problem.
that's not it at all. So, yeah. And those are things that goes back to the marketing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I get feedback, I go over the feedback. Hey,
I
we
do
did an
too.
open house. This is how many people came through. This is what they said about the house. Oh, hey, this is the showing that came through. This is what they said about the house.
I send them
Just send a screenshot. of mine.
I send the feedback directly to what the person said.
Mm-hmm. No. Yep. Okay, offer and negotiations is number 6 out of 10.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what we did with buying.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. Everything's negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big part from the selling side, though, is they're so targeted in on, okay, what offer did they give us? Not paying attention to what other things are in the contract. You could give somebody that gave you full price but asked for $9,000 in closing costs
Mm-hmm.
and another, termite or warranty, whatever. So by the time you subtract all that off, it's less than the one that offered you $5,000 less.
Right.
Yeah.
So to me now, I don't even show them a contract. I put the
net sheets
net
together. This
sheets
is what
on
the
top
numbers
and
look
said,
like.
this is what your numbers are going to look like. Which number do you want at closing?
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell them,
To get
The
that
ins and
now,
outs
this
of
is
it.
to
what you
get
gotta do.
that, this is what they're offering in the contract because they won't look at anything else They won't look at anything else there. So I think that's probably a big miss out there is them understanding that too.
And then they also have to understand with this offer, this is not the final number.
Nope.
Nope,
You
'cause
still
when
have
get down to
inspections and you have the appraisal. So,
Well, that's really important on the seller side because unless, and even if that seller, which I think all of them should get a pre-listing inspection, because we know every inspector puts something different, but at least you already have something that you can compare it to and get ahead of before before that happens.
'Cause
And
wouldn't you rather pay that $600 inspection fee or $500 inspection fee and be able to recoup it in the end because you've already addressed
because you
those
well,
issues?
and you fix it and it's
Yeah,
gone.
it's gone. It's not even
You
known
know?
about.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that part. Plus, you come back to the appraisal at that point. If something did come up in the inspection before you listed it, it's probably something that possibly an appraiser is going to call out anyway. And you can't negotiate the appraisal. If he says you have to fix this, the house is not closing until it's fixed.
Right.
You can't say, I'll just give them another $5,000.
No, it don't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. It has to be fixed.
yeah.
Or the house is not going to sell because the buyer's not going to buy it, and the next appraisal is not going to appraise either.
Yeah.
So that's the big part for the sell side.
And then number 8 is the pre-closing.
Yeah, that's kind of the same as the buy side.
Yeah. Quick and easy. We're
Yeah.
getting to the good part.
Yep.
Last walkthrough and all the fun stuff.
When mostly on 8 and probably 9 stuff too, honestly, those are on our plate. We manage, your agent has to be managing
All the stuff in the background.
all the stuff in the background.
All the timelines, all the
And
things.
that's what that lower end is getting it all done because your buyer's not going to be able to clear it out to close until the information you have is correct.
Yep.
Proactive, not reactive.
And then closing.
You get to
Move
celebrate.
Move out and closing. When you're moving out, get your stuff out. Make sure it's clean.
Right.
Don't leave a bunch of junk in there. Don't think that once you close, you can go back and get your stuff because it's not your stuff anymore.
It's not your stuff anymore.
So if you
It's-
want that grill and you didn't negotiate to leave that grill, get it out before you close.
Yeah. No, it's good. But that stuff there, it comes back to your agent. That's where planning comes in. Selling side, you have to be a planner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the dominoes could fall.
Very
Domino
quickly.
effect.
Awesome.
Yep. So that's
Hey,
the
who wants to
10
sell a house?
Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Your Neighbor, Your Agents. Please visit www.yourneighboryouragents.com.